she's so fine. Hell of a ride, blows my mind. Hell of a ride, lights my day.
What's good, guys? This story came out yesterday right before midnight, and then it was updated today around lunch. 8 people, including a child, shot in Louisville on Violent Tuesday. Louisville's Violent Tuesday ended with reports of 8 people being shot in an approximate 8-hour span, including a child who was left with a graze wound and a man shot by an officer after a police chase. The rash of shootings started around 2:45 p.m. after a police chase through Louisville ended with an LMPD officer shooting a suspect, Daryl Browning. Browning had reportedly hit several cars before officers were able to bring him to a stop near a busy shopping center at Hikes Point and Champions Trace Circle. Witnesses told Wave 3 News they saw Browning firing a gun before he was shot. An ambulance was called after he was struck, and he was rushed to the hospital. Minutes later, around 3 p.m., LMPD officer Beth Ruoff said officers were dispatched to the area of South 7th Street and Hill Street, where a male teenager was found who had been shot. He was brought to the hospital with an injury not believed to be life-threatening. An hour later, around 4 p.m., a woman was reportedly shot multiple times at South 22nd Street and West Madison. Officers responded and found a child with a graze wound from the same shooting. They were taken to local hospitals for treatment and are believed to survive, Ruoff said. Several hours later, around 9 p.m., 3 more shootings rang out in the streets of Louisville in a 45-minute span that left 4 more people hurt. On South 36th Street, a man in his 20s was found around 9:15 p.m. with a gunshot wound and was brought to the University of Louisville Hospital for treatment. 15 minutes later, at 9:30 p.m., a man and woman were reportedly shot, Ruoff said, at South 28th Street and West Galbert Avenue. Their injuries were determined not to be life-threatening after they were brought to the hospital. Around 10 p.m., officers were dispatched to the 2700 block of Greenwood Avenue after a reported shooting. A man in his early 30s was found there who had been shot. His injury was also determined to not be life-threatening, and he was transported to the hospital for treatment. No suspect information has been provided regarding any of the shootings that happened following the afternoon police chase and officer-involved shooting. Anyone with information is asked to call the LMPD anonymous tip line at 502-574-LMPD. Let's watch the video that goes with this story.
The violence doesn't stop. A rash of shootings tonight, 45 minutes apart, sending 4 people to the hospital. Thanks for joining us for Wave 3 News at 11. I'm Shannon Kogan.
I'm John Bull. All these shootings taking place between 9:15 and 10 p.m.
The first reported at South 36 and Stratton, where 1 person was shot. The second, just 13 minutes later, at 28th and Galbert. And then the third in the 2700 block of Greenwood Avenue at 10 p.m. That man taken to U of L Hospital. Wave 3 News reporter Stephen Goen joining us live from 28th and Galbert, where 2 people were shot. And any word from police if these shootings could be connected?
At this hour, police are investigating multiple shootings, and we don't know yet if they are connected, but we're working to find out more. I want to show you the scene at 28th and Galbert. It hasn't changed much since we first got here. As we arrived, LMPD officers putting up that yellow barricade tape to set up a perimeter. We've been seeing them talking to neighbors and taking pictures specifically of that black car right there. This is where police say that double shooting happened around 9:30. A man and a woman in their 20s, both found suffering from gunshot wounds. They were transported to U of L Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Now, this shooting is just one of 3 that happened in the same 45-minute time span. Like you said, we're going to show you. They all happened in West Louisville. You're going to see where they happened right now. At 9:15, officers responding to a shooting on the 1700 block of South 36th Street. A man in his 20s there found with non-life-threatening gunshot wound. He was transported to U of L Hospital. Then just after 10, officers responding to another shooting on the 2700 block of Greenwood Avenue. A man there in his 30s was also found with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound, also transported to U of L Hospital. As we said before, all of these shootings happening in West Louisville in the 2nd Division. Officers investigating each and every one, but we are told there are no suspects in any of these cases right now. As always, anyone with information is encouraged to come forward. In Louisville, Stephen Gowen, Wave 3 News.
A terrible, terrible Tuesday in Louisville. Hate to hear of any of this going on. And no suspects really in anything. I'm going to end the story on that note. Thanks for watching, guys.